Hello. This whole week we've been discussing evaporation and precipitation in the water cycle. I've got a great book to share today. It's called Landforms and Weather. Let's look at it together. It has great pictures. It starts with the ocean. It says, oceans are large bodies of salt water. They cover much of the earth. They separate land. The biggest ocean is the Pacific. The Arctic is the smallest. Oceans contain 97% of Earth's water. Oceans affect our lives in many ways. They are home to fish and other animals. Sharks, whales, octopuses, and crabs are just a few. Oceans are used for travel and for shipping things. The oceans also influence climate and weather patterns. Some of the worst storms form over the ocean. That's the ocean right there. Hurricane. A hurricane is a tropical cyclone with very strong winds. Winds range from 74 miles per hour up to 156 miles per hour. A hurricane usually has heavy rain and lightning too. Sometimes hurricanes send huge waves crashing onto land. This can kill people and destroy property. Hurricanes form above seas where the water is warm. Warm water gives them energy. They can grow hundreds of miles wide. They can travel fast across the ocean. The winds spin around the center or eye. Hurricane season runs from June through November. Tsunami. Let's look at the picture. It says, a tsunami or tidal wave is a series of giant waves in the ocean. A tsunami is caused by an earthquake or a volcano. The waves can last for minutes or hours. When they hit land, they can be deadly. When something makes the floor of the sea rise, the water has to go somewhere. Some of it turns into great big disastrous waves. That's a tsunami. About 2 tsunamis happen every year in the world. They occur most often in the Pacific Ocean and Indonesia. And then it says thunderstorms and lightning. Flash, boom. Thunder and lightning are a 1-2 punch. During a thunderstorm, things get nasty in the sky. Warm, moist air rises. It pushes cool air out of the way. Storm clouds form electricity flashes. That's lightning. It can kill a person. It can knock down trees and start fires, and it can make the power go out. After the lightning comes a loud noise, a crack or boom. Electricity is making shock waves in the air. They sound like small explosions. That's thunder. Rain and wind often join in. There could be snow, hail, or a tornado. If you are caught in a thunderstorm, take cover. Okay, and that's a great picture right there of lightning. The tundra. If you trek across the tundra, you better bundle up. It's very cold there. In the winter, it can be -58 Fahrenheit or -50 Celsius. Brr, the tundra is frozen land. You can find tundra around the North Pole and the South Pole. There is also tundra in Canada and Russia. The tundra is mostly bare with few trees, but there are mosses and plants that grow on rocks. There are also grasses and small shrubs. You could see reindeer, Arctic hare, Arctic foxes, and snowy owls. In the tundra near the ocean, you might even see a polar bear. That's the tundra right there. Snowstorm. Did you ever wish for a snow day in a snowstorm? A lot of snowflakes fall. Snowflakes are little ice crystals in the sky. Snowstorms usually happen in the winter. They also can come in late fall and early spring. Other winter storms bring freezing rain or sleet. A huge snowstorm with heavy wind that lasts for hours is a blizzard. A snowstorm sure can make a mess. Roads turn slick and schools might be canceled. Stores and factories might close. A lot of people stay home. Trucks may spread salt on the roads to melt the snow and ice so people can drive. And that's a picture of a snowstorm right there. Mountain. Mountains can't hide. They stick out way above the other land. A mountain is a large landform. It is like a hill, but steeper and bigger. Mountains are all over the world. Groups of mountains are called ranges. The Rockies, the Alps, the Himalayas, and the Andes are ranges. The biggest mountain is Mount Everest. It's in the Himalayas. Mount Everest is 5.5 miles high. Most mountains are millions of years old. They were formed from movement of the Earth's crust or from a volcano. As you go up a mountain, the weather can change. In the valley, it might be warm, but on the top of the mountain, there is snow. Look at that mountain. Avalanche. Sometimes snow causes trouble. Think about an avalanche. A mass of snow crashes down a mountain at speeds of up to 80 miles per hour. As it goes, it grows. It keeps adding snow. It sweeps up ice, earth, and rock. It could destroy anything in its path. People can be crushed, smothered, or frozen in an avalanche. An avalanche starts when a slab of snow breaks off from a larger piece. Maybe it got too heavy, or maybe an earthquake or loud noise made it break. Avalanches are most common during winter or spring, but can happen anytime. Look out below. That's an avalanche right there. Desert. Most deserts are hot, dry, and dusty. They get little rain. They are hard places for plants or animals to live. But a cactus is tough enough to live in a desert. So are snakes, lizards, scorpions, spiders, insects, and birds. Desert weather is extreme. It can be very hot during the day and very cold at night. If it rains, it can cause floods. Strong wind blows sand and dust. This wears down rocks. The Sahara in Africa is the world's largest hot desert, but the largest desert of all is a cold desert. It's in Antarctica. Other famous deserts are the Gobi and the Mojave. Dust storms, sandstorms. Cover your face. A dust storm is blowing in. Winds can be fierce, and in hot, dry areas, they can whip up dust or sand. Then you have a dust storm or sandstorm. A dust storm can happen in a city too. A sandstorm usually occurs in the desert. Moving sand in the air creates static electricity, like when you shuffle your feet across a carpet. Dust and sand can get in your eyes and can make you sick. These storms also hurt earth and plants. A lack of rain increases the chance of a dust storm. So does farming that doesn't protect the land. Swamp rhymes. So this is a swamp. It says, swamp rhymes with chomp. That's what an alligator does, and you might see an alligator in a swamp. A swamp is like a flooded forest. It is a wetland with lots of trees. The water can be saltwater or freshwater. It flows slowly, or maybe it doesn't flow at all. Some of the world's largest swamps are found along big rivers. There are huge swamps on Amazon, Mississippi, and Congo rivers. The Everglades in Florida in the United States has a lot of swampland. Gators, turtles, snakes, and fish live there. If you take a boat tour of a swamp, keep your hands inside the boat. Quicksand. It says quicksand. Quicksand is a mix of loose sand and water. It can't support weight. Quicksand can be found on riverbanks and near lakes and coast. Dry quicksand can be found in the desert. If you step in quicksand, it might start pulling you down. But quicksand is usually only a few feet deep, so you may only sink up to your waist. It's not life-threatening like they show you in the movies. If you do find yourself in quicksand, just move slowly. If you move around wildly, that can make you sink even more. Lie on your back and yell for help. Forest. A forest is a large area packed with trees. Forest covers about 15 million miles of earth. There are many different kinds of forest, and they are filled with large varieties of plants and animals. Typical rainforests are the most biologically diverse of the forest. Forests are important to humans. Trees put oxygen in the air for people to breathe. Forests provide wood for houses and much more. They are also great places to hike and camp. Foresters study forests and work to take care of them. That's a forest right there. Flood. The earth needs rain. Rain helps plants grow. It helps people and animals alive. Oh, it helps keep people and animals alive. But sometimes a lot of rain falls for a long time. This can make creeks and rivers overflow. Water covers land that is usually dry. Houses and cars can be covered or swept away. People and animals can drown. Sometimes rain falls so fast that waters rise with no warning. This is called a flash flood. It is very dangerous. Flash floods kill many people in the United States and around the world. Melting snow can also cause a flood. There's a flood right there. Forest fire. A forest fire is a wind fire. It can spread quickly and do lots of damage. It eats up trees and brush. This makes it grow bigger and stronger. Many things can cause a forest fire. Lightning is a natural cause. High dry weather can start in a natural cause. Hot dry weather can cause a fire, but people start most fires. Some do it on purpose. Some are just careless. Somebody drops a match or leaves a campfire burning. Rising heat and strong winds make the air spin really fast. A fire whirl forms. Some people call it a fire tornado or a fire devil. As it spins, the fire whirl pulls in gases and debris. That makes it grow. Fire whirls are so strong they can even uproot trees. Wow. Hail. Sometimes balls or lumps of frozen rain fall from the sky. This is called hail. Hailstorms are bigger than sleet. Sleet usually falls in cold weather. Hail usually falls during the storms in the warmer months. Hail can put dents in cars. It can break windows and cause and damage roofs. It can also harm livestock and crops. Thunderstorms can bring hail. Water vapor rises, turns into droplets, and freezes. Hailstorms are different sizes. The bigger it is, the faster it falls. Ouch! There's hail right there. And the last one, rainbow. Isn't that beautiful? It says, people love rainbows. When they appear in the sky after a storm, it just makes everyone feel happy. There are 7 colors in the rainbow. Some people use the letters Roy G. Biv to remember them. That stands for red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. A reflection of sun rays off water and air causes a rainbow. Bands of light split apart. A spectrum shows up in the sky. A spectrum is a range of light and color. It looks like an arc. A rainbow always appears across the sky from the sun. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you'll see a double rainbow. The end. That was a great book called Landforms and Weather. And I've got one other book to share with you today. It's called Bringing the Rain to Kapiti Plain. And it's also about weather. And the pictures are beautiful. This is the Great Kapiti Plain, all fresh and green from the African rains. A sea of grass for the ground birds to nest in, and patches of shade for wild creatures to rest in. With acacia trees for giraffes to browse on, and grass for herdsmen to pasture their cows on. But one year the rains were so very belated that all the big kind creatures migrated. Then Kaipat helped to end that terrible drought, and this story tells how it all came about. This is the cloud, all heavy with rain, that shadowed the ground on Kapiti Plain. This is the grass, all brown and dead, that needed the rain from the cloud overhead. The big black cloud, all heavy with rain, that shadowed the ground on Kapiti Plain. These are the cows, all hungry and dry, who moved for the rain to fall from the sky, to green up the grass, all brown and dead, that needed the rain from the cloud overhead. The big black cloud, all heavy with rain, that shadowed the ground on Kapiti Plain. This is Kaipat, who watched his herd as he stood on one leg like the big stork bird. Kaipat, whose cows were so hungry and dry, they mooed for the rain to fall from the sky, to green up the grass all brown and dead, that needed the rain from the cloud overhead. The big black cloud, all heavy with rain, that shadowed the ground on Kapiti Plain. This is the eagle who dropped a feather that helped to change the weather. It fell near Kaipat, who watched his herd as he stood on one leg like the big stork bird. Kaipat, whose cows were so hungry and dry, they mooed for the rain to fall from the sky, to green up the grass all brown and dead, that needed the rain from the cloud overhead. The big black cloud, all heavy with rain, that shadowed the ground on Kapiti Plain. This is the arrow Kaipat put together with a slender stick and an eagle feather. From the eagle who happened to drop a feather that helped to change the weather. It fell near Kaipat, who watched his herd as he stood on one leg like the big stork bird. Kaipat, whose cows were so hungry and dry, they mooed for the rain to fall from the sky, to green up the grass all brown and dead, that needed the rain from the cloud overhead, the big black cloud all heavy with rain, that shadowed the ground on Kapiti Plain. Let's look at that. This is the bow, so long and strung with a string and a feather thong. A bow from the arrow Kaipat put together, with a slender stick and an eagle feather. From the eagle who happened to drop a feather that helped to change the weather. It fell near Kaipat, who watched his herd as he stood on one leg like the big stork bird. Kaipat, whose cows were so hungry and dry, they mooed for the rain to fall from the sky, to green up the grass all brown and dead, that needed the rain from the cloud overhead. The big black cloud, all heavy with rain, that shadowed the ground on Kapiti Plain. Ooh, look at this. And then came the rain. This was the shot that pierced the cloud and loosened the rain with the thunder loud. A shot from the bow so long and strong, and strung with a string, a leather thong. A bow for the arrow Kaipat put together with a slender stick and an eagle feather. From the eagle who happened to drop a feather that helped to change the weather. And there's the feather right there. It fell near Kaipat, who watched his herd as he stood on one leg like the big stork bird. Kaipat, whose cows were so hungry and dry, they moved for the rain to fall from the sky, to green up the grass all brown and dead, that needed the rain from the cloud overhead. The big black cloud, all heavy with rain, that shadowed the ground on Kapiti Plain. And it said, so the grass grew green and the cattle fat, and Kaipat got a wife and a little Kaipat. Oh, wow. The rain came back. who tends the cows now and shoots down the rain when black clouds shadow Kapiti plain. So this is his son right there. The end. That was a great book. I really liked it. And the illustrations were wonderful. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.